Welcome back, Better Call Saul fans. So this video is a little unique. I have clipped 7 different scenes throughout the series that I think could foreshadow what's going to happen in the remaining 6 episodes of the series, as well as 7 scenes that I think really do a really good job of capturing like what's the entire show about. So it's a little foreshadowing, a little prediction, and some commentary along the way. So I hope you enjoy it. Again, I haven't seen anyone do anything like this, so I wanted to give it a shot. Before we get started, if you have not gotten up to Season 6, Episode 7, you shouldn't watch this video. Get the heck out of here. Also, I did watch the very first 30-second teaser that they gave during the Season 6 break. I have watched that. I haven't watched the other teasers. If you don't want to watch that very first teaser, it's towards the end of this video, and I'll give you a fair warning to click off and get out of there if you don't want to watch that 30-second clip. Also, there might be more scenes that I have forgotten that might provide some good foreshadowing or some good predictions for us. If you think I missed anything, put it in the comments below, but I hope you all enjoy it, so let's just jump right into it. The first clip that I have is probably going to be the easiest one that's been foreshadowed to us, in that Jimmy and Kim are officially on Bad Choice Road. So let's go back to Season 5, Episode 9, as Mike explains this to Jimmy.
Just tell me, what are you saying is going to...
We all make our choices. And those choices, they put us on a road. Sometimes those choices seem small, but they put you on the road. You think about getting off, but eventually you're back on it. The road we're on led us out to the desert and everything that happened there and straight back to where we are right now. And nothing can be done about that. Do you understand that?
All right, so as Mike says here, and let me backtrack this so we just don't get to the next scene. As Mike says here, once you get on Bad Choice Road, you're not going to be able to get off of it. And Jimmy actually internalizes this, even though he's really shocked to see this right now, as we see on his great face there. But Jimmy internalizes this because he repeats that same line really awkwardly to Kim later on in this same episode. So Jimmy and Kim got on Bad Choice Road really early in the series, doing small cons on people and really small consequences. They didn't even bother to cash the checks of some of the cons that they did back then. But the stakes throughout the series have been ever increasing. And now someone's dead because of the cons that they've done. Rest in peace, Howard. So it's pretty clear that they are firmly in Bad Choice Road. So that's been foreshadowed to us. And I cannot imagine in the next 6 episodes that they're going to somehow veer off of Bad Choice Road. The really big lingering question in my mind, now that we know they're on this Bad Choice Road, is what are the consequences going to be for all of these bad choices? And that's actually the next scene that I want to look at. And this scene is going to come from us in Season 3, Episode 1. Now, you might remember in Season 2, Jimmy and his production crew, they get together outside of a plane to take a picture for one of Jimmy's commercials, and they do this under false pretenses. Well, in Season 3, the Air Force captain who allowed them on base comes back to confront Jimmy after he saw that commercial on TV. And this was the commercial with the war veteran who was supposedly confined to a wheelchair, even though he wasn't. So the captain in this scene isn't going to be able to change Jimmy's ways, but he makes a prediction here that I think is going to hold true, not just for the rest of these 6 episodes, but really for the rest of Jimmy and Saul's and Gene's life. So here's the kind of extended clip.
Yeah? Make you? Yeah, let's do this. You bring your commander down here and I'll explain to him how you let us on the base. Red carpet treatment.
No, because you lied your way in.
Not how I remember it. And I've got witnesses to back me up. Do you like being an Air Force captain, huh? You think the United States wants to bring action against an old man in a wheelchair?
He was standing on TV. He wasn't even in a wheelchair.
Well, periodically he is. And when he shows up in court, you better believe he'll be in a wheelchair.
Right, because you're an ambulance chasing piece of shit, because you're all the same. You're the same as all.
Always on a high horse, always trying to make me feel like I'm...
I have to pause right here because this is amazing. Jimmy's reacting because he feels like he's hearing Chuck. I mean, that's the exact type of thing that you would imagine Chuck being able to say to Jimmy. And Jimmy responds like he would respond to Chuck. He's taken all of this really demoralizing sentiment that Chuck has given him throughout his life, and he's internalized it again, and now he's taking it out on this Air Force captain who notices the same things that Chuck noticed, and that's where he gets this visceral reaction from.
Now, guys like you think you're so damn smart. And you think you don't have to play straight with anybody. The wheel is going to turn. It always does.
And that's the key line right there. The wheel is going to turn. It always does. Now, after this clip, after you see this, some people would think that the wheels of justice have already arrived for Jimmy because we know in Breaking Bad that he's going to have to run away and he's going to have to become Gene in Omaha. But I don't think that's fair. Jimmy has done so much dishonest and crooked stuff, and for him to simply walk away from all of this by becoming a new person via Gene, I don't think that's karma right there. I don't think that's the wheels of justice fully coming for Jimmy/Saul/Gene. I think there's going to be more pain and suffering in Jimmy's life to come, even as he is Gene. So even if I'm wrong on that, though, I think it's still really safe to assume that the captain's right, that Jimmy's scheming ways are catching up to him, as we've seen so far here in Season 6, and the wheels of justice are going to continue to turn against Jimmy/Saul/Gene. And like I just said, I think it's going to get even worse in terms of Jimmy getting his karmic justice coming up in these next 6 episodes. So the Air Force captain, spot on with his analysis. Now let's go into the third scene, and now let's fast forward a couple seconds. Okay, now this scene is from Season 4, Episode 9, right after Jimmy does not get his law license back, and he calls Kim to talk to her about it. So let's play this extended clip.
Kim, I was sincere.
I know that. I meant we will
I
fix
might
it.
have been a little corny, but I meant every word.
I know that.
You don't believe me?
Of course I do.
Jesus, it's right there on your face. You think I'm some kind of lowlife, some kind of asshole.
What?
Kind of lawyer guilty people hire, right?
Jim.
And look at that reference to the Kettlemans. That's something from Season 1. Jimmy is internalizing all of these negative things that people are saying about him, and he believes it. You know, only a lawyer that criminals would hire.
You look at me and you see Slippin' Jimmy.
I never said that.
Yeah, but you thought it.
You want to know why the committee called you insincere? Because you didn't mention Chuck.
What was after?
They read the transcripts. They know what happened, Jimmy. They were waiting for you to say something about it.
So I'm supposed to make a big hairy deal about my dead brother at my reinstatement hearing? How is that sincere? Yeah, I don't think about Chuck, okay? I don't miss Chuck. Chuck was alive, and now he's dead, and that's that. Finito. Life goes on, so sue me. There it is again. And that's why we don't have an office.
What? No, just, do not start in on that office. I don't want to hear another word about that stupid.
This is incredible right here because, Jimmy's trying to become Saul Goodman, who is ultra confident and cocky and arrogant, and he's got this incredible swagger about him. But on the inside, he's Jimmy McGill. He's incredibly secure. He's still got these Kettleman words ringing in his head from years ago. And he is still upset that his incredibly loyal girlfriend does not want to share an office with him. Something the more stable, secure person would, completely move on from it. It is still bothering Jimmy. And Kim's got a great line coming up right now.
Office.
Stupid office. Okay, here we go.
Jimmy, I have been on your side since the day we met. Who comes running when you call? Who cleans up your messes? I have a job, and I drop everything for you. Every single time you confess to a felony on tape, I'm there. You have a bar hearing, I represent you. Over and over again. If you need me, I'm there. But somehow in your mind, the only measure of my feelings for you is some office?
I'm good enough to live with, to sleep with, but God forbid you should have an office with me.
What are you I just told
You
you
get
to...
a little bored with your life, so you come down and roll around in the dirt. Have some fun with slipping, Jimmy.
Oh, is it fun? Fun like lying to the ADA to get your friend out of the shitter? Or fun like standing there with a smile plastered on my face while you play infantile mind games on my law partner?
Oh, what a mistake it was to take me up to your office in the sky. You'll never do that again.
Yeah, maybe I won't. And maybe next time you call, I won't come.
There you go. Kick a man when he's down.
Jimmy, you are always down.
Okay, paused it a little bit too late right there. But Kim really does a masterful, absolutely masterful job of explaining all the things that she's done for Jimmy. And more importantly, all the times that she has covered his tracks throughout the relationship. And I really don't think that she's done doing that. I think there's going to be one more time in this series where Kim is going to have to bail out Jimmy out of some kind of jam like she's been doing all along. Now, here's another scene on a much smaller scale, and I think I turned the audio off here. I did. Good. Here's on a smaller scene where Kim cleans up the mess that they made the night before when they were throwing beer bottles off of their apartment balcony. Now, I know this is small potatoes compared to the list that Kim just gave in that previous clip, but I think the message here is really clear. Kim cleans up after Jimmy repeatedly, and I think she's got one more mess that she's gonna have to clean up before this series ends, which makes complete sense given where they're at with Lalo in the series. There she is, cleaning up after Jimmy again. Now, this next scene that I want to show, I don't know if this might be some foreshadowing, it might be some predictions. It's kind of a stretch, but back in season 1, when Kim was working at HHM, in this scene, she's going to try and convince the Kettlemans, and obviously Betsy's the decision maker here, to take a deal that's going to give Craig jail time, but not nearly as much as he deserves. So let's play that.
There is no money. There never was. You have to take this to trial.
Look, you have a difficult, but nevertheless straightforward choice to make here. On one hand, you give up the money.
I just told you there is no money.
Plead guilty. It's painful, I know. And go to jail for 1.5 years. But your other choice, that is no choice at all. If you go to trial, you'll most likely lose. And Craig goes to prison for decades. Your children will grow up seeing their dad through bars on visiting day. I know what I'd do. I'd take the deal. 2 years from now, you can be starting over. It's tough. I know. But you're tough people. And your family is worth it.
I know this might be a long shot, but I can't help but think that Kim right here is foreshadowing her future. That somehow, because of everything that she and Jimmy has done, she's going to have to end up making a choice, just like Craig had to make a choice, and it might be a bad choice. Now, maybe it's not a literal prison like Craig had to go to, or maybe it is. Maybe it's a deal that she has to take to work for the cartel for a period of time, or some kind of deal she has to make with Lalo, given whatever he's going to want in the apartment in episode 8. But if she has some kind of choice to make, she says in this video that 2 years from now, you'd be starting over. I know what I would do. And so I think at some point she's going to be presented with an idea or with a choice like this in the future, and I think she's going to take it. And that could explain why she's behind the scenes or potentially out of the picture during the Breaking Bad era, because she's serving whatever sentence she needs to. Kim is a pragmatist. She's giving Craig practical, pragmatic advice, and she is saying, potentially foreshadowing, what she would do in a similar situation. She'd take the deal, she'd tough out whatever sentence she has to have, and then she would move on with her life after that sentence is done, which, coincidentally, might match up with the Gene timeline. Now let's go into the next video here. This is a fantastic scene, one of my favorite scenes in the show, between Howard and Jimmy. They are having lunch. It's not necessarily a foreshadow scene, but I think the question that Howard's going to ask here is something that we really need to keep in mind as the series wraps up. So let's get to it.
Well, tell me about Saul Goodman.
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is, if he's not Jimmy McGill, who is he? What's he about?
Well, Saul Goodman is, he's the last line of defense for the little guy. Are you getting sold down the river? He's a life raft. Are you getting stepped on? He's a sharp stick. You got Goliath on your back. Saul's the guy with the slingshot. He's a righter of wrongs. He's a friend to the friendless. That's Saul Goodman.
Wow.
Howard absolutely loves it. He might love it as much as I do. Jimmy's line there is so good. Saul Goodman is the last line of defense for the little guy. And while he certainly does represent those people in Breaking Bad that need good legal representation and can't afford the fancy lawyers like Cliff Mahan or Howard Hamlin, Jimmy never really does live up to this ideal of Saul Goodman, of this initial version that he created for himself. I also feel like this scene is really telling because Jimmy is trying to come to grips with who he really is, which is really the question of this whole show and what the show's exploring. Who is this guy? Is he Jimmy McGill or is he Saul Goodman? At this point in the show, he's in the initial stages of becoming Saul. And in Breaking Bad, at least out in public, he's Saul Goodman. But what about after that? We haven't seen Gene yet so far this season, in season 6, and we will absolutely see him again. And the question that either Vince Gilligan or Peter Gould, I can't remember, the question they've asked about that season 6 poster that we've seen is Gene putting on the jacket or is he taking it off? And that scene right here. And so from my vantage point, he is putting on this jacket one last time as he needs to or as he wants to become Saul Goodman again. And I think whatever final Gene scene that we're going to have in these remaining 6 episodes, it's really going to help us answer the question, who is Saul Goodman? So a fantastic question for Howard. It's not necessarily predicting or foreshadowing anything, but I think this is the overall theme of the show, which is, who is this guy? Is he Jimmy McGill? Is he Saul Goodman? And how is he going to cope with who he has become? And so that's what we're going to see coming up. The 6th scene that I have here is very tough to watch. It's a complete gut punch. It's the last scene with Chuck and Jimmy, at least in present day. Now, Jimmy comes over to check in on Chuck after Kim gets in a car accident. And, Jimmy's trying to reconcile, and he's trying to make up with Chuck. And to put it mildly, it did not go the way that he wanted. And towards the ending part of this clip, Chuck's going to make a prediction that we know comes true. And so let's listen in.
Something happened, and it made me think about what went down between you and me. And so I wanted to say, in hindsight, I could have made different choices.
Is that so?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's all on me. It's not, but if I had to do it all over again, I would maybe do some things differently. I just thought you should know that.
That you have regrets?
Yeah, I have regrets.
Why?
Because you're my brother. There aren't that many of us McGills left, and I think we should stick together.
No. Why have regrets at all? What's the point?
What do you mean?
Well, look at you. You're in so much pain. Why are you putting yourself through all this?
Because I wanted to tell you
that you have regrets. And I'm telling you, don't bother. What's the point? You're just going to keep hurting people.
That's not true.
Jimmy, this is what you do. You hurt people over and over and over. And then there's this show of remorse.
It's not a show.
I know you don't think it's a show. I don't doubt your emotions are real. But what's the point of all the sad faces and the gnashing of teeth? If you're not going to change your behavior, and you won't, why not just skip the whole exercise? In the end, you're going to hurt everyone around you. You can't help it. So stop apologizing and accept it. Embrace it. Frankly, I'd have more respect for you if you did.
What about you, Chuck? You didn't do anything wrong. You're just an innocent victim.
Let me put your mind at ease, Jimmy. You don't have to make up with me. We don't have to understand each other. Things are fine the way they are. Hey. I don't want to hurt your feelings. But the truth is, you've never mattered all that much to me.
Giant F-U to you, Chuck, although that was great acting, Michael. So this scene is so key to understanding who Jimmy becomes and how he devolves so far. Jimmy really took Chuck's words to heart, unfortunately. He obviously ends up embracing this sleazy, slipping Jimmy persona that Chuck hates. And we know that from Breaking Bad. But I think the first part of one of those sentences is really key, and it foreshadows what happens next. Chuck says, in the end, you're going to hurt everyone around you. You can't help it. So stop apologizing and accept it. Embrace it. And that is the part that I think we're going to unfortunately see in the remaining 6 episodes is Jimmy hurting more people, and that will include Kim. Now, let me pause this right here before we get into it right there. Okay, so if you have not seen the very first teaser that they put out during the season 6 break and you don't want to see it, you got to skip to my very next point, because in the next second, I'm going to put that teaser up and I'm going to talk about that really quickly. So 3, 2, 1, get out of here if you do not want to see the short teaser.
So, after all that, a happy ending.
Folks, I think this is misdirection. I don't think we're getting a happy ending. I think Chuck, what he said in that previous scene is right. In the end, you're going to hurt everyone around you. I want to see a happy ending. And if it makes sense for it to be a happy ending, I would be the happiest guy in the world. I've got a big heart for Jimmy McGill. But I don't think that's what we're going to see. I think ultimately Chuck's going to be right. Not only that Jimmy embracing his sleazy side, his slip-in Jimmy persona, but also I think Chuck's going to be right in that in the end you're going to hurt everyone around you. And so that's going to lead us into our very last scene that we're going to talk about today that I think could foreshadow what's going to happen in the end. I hope this next one's right, because I think that would really do karmic justice for this entire universe. And so this clip that I'm about to show you is coming from the very first episode of the series, and Saul is going to barge into the HHM conference room, and he's going to do an impression of Ned Beatty from the movie Network. So let's watch that.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Hamlin, and I won't have it!
Do you want me to call security?
It's okay, Brenda.
And you will atone! It's Ned Beatty from Network. For Christ's sakes, guys.
Absolutely love it. So, of course, in this scene, Jimmy is telling Howard that Howard's going to atone for his mistreatment of Chuck. At least that's how Jimmy saw it in his eyes at the time. But I think that all of this is going to come back to Saul in the end. Howard actually has done his atonement for his mistreatment of Jimmy and Kim, and he actively worked to make amends with each of them. Now, Jimmy/Saul has done none of that work. He has not put in anything in terms of reflecting and atoning for the mistakes that he's made so far. But we see in the Gene timeline that instead of switching identities again after Gene sees Jeff the cab driver recognize him, he says to Robert Forrester, the vacuum cleaner guy, he says, "I will handle it." Now, I think that that's going to refer to him handling his past, including all of the sins that he's committed. I think that at the very end of this show, in some way, in some kind of shape or form, we're going to see Saul finally atone for his sins, just as he said in this very first episode of the series. And that's where I'm going to end this episode, Better Call Saul, friends. If there are more foreshadowing scenes that you think I missed, or if you have any predictions, please put them in the comments below, and I'll try and make at least 1 or 2 more videos before July 11th when we get some new episodes. Also, please be cool in the comments. I'm not looking for any leaks or spoilers, and I know a lot of other people are not looking for those as well. So keep them to yourself, at least for now, until we get new episodes. So thanks for watching, and looking forward to hearing what everyone thinks. Bye.